Kia ora, day 23, I believe. Now, this is going to be a short video, but I'm going to link you to a longer one, which I'd like you to watch and then do some work. Now, don't be put off by this. This is a word that sometimes frightens people away, okay, but it doesn't need to. Okay, and that is the S word, spirituality, and the R word, which is frightens people even more, religion. Okay, so the reason we're looking at this is they're kind of quite interesting. They're both kind of double-edged swords, really. If you your RJ probably owes something to religion. I mean, if, for example, if you if you look at Christianity, huge issues around no sex before marriage, and then particularly things like Catholicism. There's this great reverence placed upon a virgin. All this stuff about purity. Virgins are pure. If you're not a virgin, you're not pure. All this kind of stuff. Really, it gets ingrained, and you might think, well, I didn't have a religious upbringing, or I'm not very religious, or was never exposed to that religious stuff. Yes, you were, because it's in the water that we drink and the air that we breathe. It's become, embedded in society. Not necessarily Christianity, it depends on where you live. It might be a different religion or a different path. But religions often have, something to answer for in terms of what caused our retroactive jealousy. So I think it's important to look at that. Okay. So the first exercise I want you to do is to write down any religious beliefs that you think may have got into your unconscious mind. Whether you might think they're nonsense, you might believe in them, which is absolutely, I'm not trying to kind of knock anyone's religion here, or you might just have a vague sense of them. But whatever might have got into your unconscious around kind of do's and don'ts, I was thinking about things like white weddings and, no sex before marriage and, biblical stuff, Mary Magdalene and all kinds of stuff. Whatever, just kind of write it all down, just really quickly, just like free writing, just kind of fill the page with don't censor yourself, just write down brainstorming, that's the word I'm looking for, everything that you can think of that relates to that. Okay, so the second part of it really is, so that's kind of the problem, or what has been the problem. The second part is part of the solution, and what I want you to do is just to think about, if you do have a religion, or if you don't maybe have a formal religion, but you have a sense of spirituality, or you have some beliefs, particularly if you have a belief in a higher power. Okay, and I use the word higher power in the broadest sense of the word. It can mean humanity, it can mean nature, it can mean, just the universe, it can be like all the atoms of the universe, or it might be something more traditional, it might be a monotheistic God, it might be something pantheistic, it might be, whatever. Okay, think about, is there any way in which you can use your spirituality and your spiritual beliefs, or your sense of maybe connection to something bigger, to help you in your recovery from retroactive jealousy? Okay, so it may be that this is an avenue you don't particularly want to go down, which is absolutely fine. Okay, but remember also, it doesn't have to be anything to do with God or spirits or anything otherworldly. Spirituality can be about connecting to the best in humanity. Okay, so try and keep an open mind if you can. So think about what you can draw strength, what or whom you can draw, what or who, to whom you can draw strength from. You can tell I also do videos on correct English language, can you? Even though I don't always practice it. So this is a huge help if you do have any sense of, deity, whether it's or spiritual or spirits, otherness, or something that's higher and bigger than you that is benign. So it might be, you might have kind of spiritualist beliefs. So you might believe that your people that you love who passed over are watching over you and can help you. You might believe in angels. You might believe in the forces of nature. You might believe in a traditional God. You might not believe in anything but still be willing to call out to something just on the off chance there might be something, like the kids that don't really believe in Santa anymore but kind of hedge their bets. So what I want to do is to think about, is there any way that you can use your spirituality to help your recovery? And if you have a religion, if you're already part of a faith, that's absolutely fantastic, because that will be a huge, whatever faith that is, that will be a huge asset to your recovery. Because one of the great things about, and this comes from the great 12-step tradition that Alcoholics Anonymous comes from, and all the anonymous groups, is the belief using when you're dealing with a compulsion that feels bigger than you, if you can hand it over to something that feels even bigger than the compulsion. So there's you, which is tiny, the compulsion, which feels like this big scary monster, then you find an even bigger, mightier thing that's bigger than the big scary monster of the compulsion, and then you use that to help you. So, and this is really useful in conjunction with the antidote technique. So see the video on the antidote technique if you've not seen it. That's a really important video. I would definitely recommend watching that one. But combine, and I have done, so I'll put links to the videos that talk about the spiritual sort of aspects of things and the religious aspects of things. But if you do have a belief in something, then actually hand it over to them. So if you believe in, if you believe in God, in whatever form or context that might be, hand over your compulsions, hand over your crazy thoughts to God. When you're thinking RJ thoughts, just say to yourself, these thoughts are crazy, God, please take them away. And just, visualize, picture how, or have the sense of, or just the faith that something benign will actually remove those thoughts from you. And this is all, if you like this approach, this is kind of very much the 12-step philosophy. So look up the 12 steps. I've done a video on 12 steps as well. But look up the kind of 12-step philosophy, because this, if you like this kind of thing, it will really work for you. And we've talked about things like Codependence Anonymous, which is the 12-step group that's probably most appropriate for people with RJ. So, yes, may the force be with you, or as Dave Allen always used to say, good night, and may all God go with you. Good luck with this. Try and keep an open mind to it. If it's really not your thing, obviously, we're not, it's not compulsory. We're not telling you what to do, we're only making suggestions. But try and be open to it if you can, because there's benefits to potentially be gained. If you don't try, you never will get the benefits. So higher power, handing over, surrendering, not being on your own anymore, really. And it doesn't matter whether, and this kind of approach will work on a psychological level. So if you do it and you hand it over to the great kind of the great god Melkin Nakizor that doesn't actually really exist, it will still work on a psychological level, even if it doesn't work on a spiritual level. So this stuff works. How it works is something we can debate, but this kind of stuff does work, and it's been one of the most effective methods for dealing with addictions, since the start, since the early part of the 19th century, 20th century. So good luck, and Rangimarie.